Hi, I'm Bill D. Simone, the one stretching the Scarlet Knight and the Polar Bear from the Optimal Exercise Studio in Cranbury, New Jersey. And this is a look at the kind of stretching I do with clients at the end of every workout, specifically to help with the lower back. Most of the clients here do a cardio warm up, then weight training, and then we finish with 5 stretches. Now, a couple of points before we start. If you have a medical issue with your lower back, treat it medically or at least evaluate it. From my own experience, I got injured. I did not have it evaluated medically. I tried to treat myself, and I could have done some real damage. When it comes to your spine, don't do that. Second point is absent a distinct injury or medical condition, if your complaint is that your back is stiff or sore after sitting for an extended time, standing for an extended time, waking up, then stretching like I'm about to show may help. And the third thing to know is the stretching isn't a cure. At best, it's a treatment you can live with. I consider what I do to be assisted stretching, not the same as forced stretching. The assist is my positioning your limbs, then helping you identify where you should feel the stretch, while you, the client, control how intense it is. You want to ease into the stretch, hold that sensation for up to 30 seconds, then ease out of the stretch. Once I help you find the stretch, if you were to stretch on your own without me, you would know the sensation you're looking for. This is very different from bouncing or cranking into a stretch, which may feel very dramatic, but your muscles may tighten to protect themselves, which defeats the purpose. Here are the 5 basic areas and stretches. Again, this would be done after a cardio warm up and after the weight training part of the workout. The first stretch is aimed at relieving the daily compression on the lower back. Whether you sit or stand, each vertebrae has to support the weight of everything above it. Notice that the vertebrae in the lower back are thicker and more stable than the ones in the neck. Also notice, though, that discs and ligaments are also involved, so if your posture is off or if you move wrong, more of the load goes to the soft tissue, which doesn't handle it as well as bone. And even if you have perfect posture and never move wrong, age-related changes happen, unfortunately, not in our favor. The next stretch targets the muscles of the lower leg, the most prominent being the gastrocnemius. Notice they attach above the knee, so while they may not directly affect the lower back, if they're tight, they interfere with stretching the hamstrings, which does directly affect the lower back. There are other reasons to stretch the muscles of the lower leg having to do with foot and ankle health, and a tight gastroc would interfere with that also. If you have time to do only one stretch, over the long run, stretching the hamstrings would be the most important for your back. The safest way to load your spine, or to move your spine, is with a stable spine in the natural curves. That means the pelvis has to be able to move with the spine roughly in the same plane as the shoulders. Notice the hamstrings attached to the pelvis. If the hamstrings are tight or taut, they prevent the pelvis from following the spine and shoulders, and too much motion and load can strain your lower back. In this series of stretches, after the hamstrings, we move to the hip muscles. Notice these attach the top of the thigh to the pelvis, so again, if they're tight or taut, they would interfere with the pelvis following the torso, in addition to their own unpleasantness when they're all knotted up. Technical terms. These are the deep spine muscles, the multifidus and the rotatories. These are important because they literally stabilize the spine. Each one attaches to the adjacent vertebrae. They're short and small. Their function is to hold the vertebrae in place as opposed to moving each one with force. But by definition, that means they stay at a certain length without relief, so stretching them might help. A complication, though, is that while a gentle twist stretches these muscles, an extreme twist puts the discs at risk. Here's what the assisted stretching looks like. Edited for time, in real life, each stretch should last about 30 seconds, a few seconds to find it, hold it, and then ease out of it. First, the pull to decompress the lower back, then moving to the calf stretch. I pointed to her calf to make sure she felt the stretch in the right place, the belly of the muscle, not right behind the knee. This is the hamstring stretch. Notice her knee stays bent as long as she feels the stretch. Jamming your knee flat is too severe as the hamstrings stretch over both the hips and the knees. This way, the client can control how intensely they feel the stretch by how much they straighten their knee. I'm only positioning them to be able to find it. Now we move to stretch the hip rotators. With her knee bent, I'm moving it towards her opposite shoulder until she feels the stretch on the outside of her right hip. Last is the easy twist for the deep muscles of the spine. Don't force the knee all the way to the floor. Just move towards that direction. Her arm out to the side keeps her shoulders flat on the floor while the pelvis is turning. This series stretches the same areas, only without the assist. When I'm teaching interns or teaching a client how to do this for themselves, I assist on one leg and have the stretching person do the solo version on the other leg immediately so they can compare the sensation. This way they know what they're looking for. They're not just mimicking a pose and not feeling anything. Here, Shell is using a Swiss ball, using the weight of her arms and legs on opposite sides instead of my assist. For the lower leg, Shell uses a strap across the front of her foot, close to the toes, lifts her toes towards her knee, and straightens her knee enough to feel the stretch. For the hamstrings, the strap goes closer to the heel. She tries to lift her whole leg towards her head as she pulls with her arms. The figure four stretch for the outside of the hip, one foot on top of the other knee, then gently pull the bottom leg towards your shoulders to stretch the hip on that side. And from the figure four to the easy twist, notice the bottom leg keeps the top leg from getting too close to the floor, which keeps you from the extreme stretch. Here's what I hope you get from this. Stretching can help your lower back by temporarily relieving compression on the discs and vertebrae and tension on the muscles and ligaments. More flexible muscles allow for better posture and movement, but you can overdo it. Second, if you're going to try this on your own, warm up first because a warm muscle just inherently moves easier. And remember to ease into the stretch, hold it, and ease out. Don't pop in and out or force it. And last, where I fit in, I can help you learn how to position your limbs and find the stretch because once you know the right sensation, you know what you're aiming for with the stretching. Just assuming the pose isn't the point, finding the right area and feeling the right stretch is. Ah, yes, about the Scarlet Knight and the polar bear. Those were taken at a couple of the Rutgers Big Chill 5Ks. The other pictures are from a Runners One 5K in Mercer County Park, Cranberry 5K, a local bike tour. I set up stretch stations for 5Ks, corporate health fairs and lunch and learns, library and recreation events, and so on. So please feel free to contact me if you'd like to offer this kind of program. You can reach me at the studio in Cranberry. Contact information in the description below, including links to my ACE profile and books on joint-friendly fitness. The next video will be on weight training for health. Please subscribe so you get notified when it's up. Thanks for your interest and good luck with your exercise.